My turn.
Go for it.
I want to know what sitcom character you hated. And now I want to make it very clear. We've talked about hate trolls and everything else on this show before, and I always tell that story about The Office when I almost tweeted how much The Office sucked it or whatever in that second to last season. Got good in the final season. I don't mean actor or actress. I mean character in a show you hated. And I will always go back to Jill from Home Improvement, who was a terrible wife and a terrible mother.
Jill from Home... Why was Jill from Home Improvement a terrible wife?
She was annoying all the time.
Because she lived with the dude that went like this. That's all he did.
Guess what, motherfucker? You married him and kept having sex with him.
Maybe Tim the Toolman Taylor was just a mechanic when she first met him, and he was a nice guy, and then all of a sudden he gets this show.
And now guess what?
Like the world's most annoying human being.
You live in Detroit. He's on TV.
I would argue that Tim is more annoying than Jill.
No, he's a millionaire
he can't
in
fix
Detroit
anything.
bucks. He gets free shit all the time.
Remember stuff that she doesn't want?
He redid
what
the bathroom.
Carburetor for? Look, I got you this free carburetor.
Redid the bathroom. They had all.
Yeah, but he always screws it up.
But they fix it in the end.
He would flick a freaking light, and like a turkey would shoot out of the oven. And
and then the next episode he fixed. And
because what's his name? The dude with the beard.
Wilson didn't do shit. Al did everything.
Al had to come over and fix it.
Yeah.
I think Jill and Al were banging.
No, Al had that girl.
I'm putting that out there.
No, that's not true. That's not what it was. Jill was annoying.
Al was
wasn't
coming
supportive.
over to fix stuff at the end of the day.
She always had that voice. And like this is the weird thing about Patricia Richardson doesn't sound like that, but she was always like Tim. Shut up. No.
Do you think when they had sex and he finished, he was like, oh.
I hope so.
Definitely.
I would. This is how it would sound if I were him having sex.
That's
it. You roll over, you get a sandwich. Al comes over, makes you a sandwich, and then you go to bed.
Yeah. He puts dill in his sandwiches.
I bet he puts dill in his sandwiches.
That's a real thing from the show. I watched a lot of Home Improvement.
That's what Jill used to be called.
They also couldn't catch fish in that episode because they used hand cream that had a scent to it. And the fish could smell it on the bait.
That was stupid. How did we ever get duped by that show?
I like that show.
Why did you watch so much of it?
Because it was on after Simpsons on reruns, syndication, man.
Oh, yeah. When we worked in Brisbane, Clements and I would go to...
By the way, his name is pronounced Clements, everyone. I got a couple tweets that are like, why do you guys say the last part of his name? Why do you put the emphasis in the last part of his name? Because it's Clements.
Yeah, Clements.
It's not Clements.
We used to go to get like McDonald's or some other lunch when we worked in the Brisbane office and then watch Home Improvement. Every day, and that show actually makes me laugh. Like that show is actually
a funny show.
It is. Like it authentically is a funny show. Like I really. It's not like Golden Girls or Seinfeld funny. Like where it's like really fucking
stop
funny.
Right there. Are you serious about Golden Girls?
Yes.
Dude, Golden Girls is probably one of the best written. It's like probably one of the best.
I was in love with you before this happened, but you do know that Golden Girls was like my youth.
Oh, no, I watch Golden Girls every night.
I used to watch Golden Girls with my mom. And now my wife watches Golden Girls, and I will sit and I will watch it without.
Dude, it's so
well written.
First of all, a lot of great TV writers got their start on Golden Girls, which I didn't know. I was reading about it not too long ago. Yeah, and that show is fucking funny.
It's really funny.
Like, it's really, really well written. I think that's like top 5 sitcoms of all time.
It's one of those shows that you just sit... Like, my wife, literally, she likes that show so much that she plans on me dying first, naturally. It's going to happen.
The Taco Bell's going to do, yeah.
Oh, God. The Taco Bell, the incessant late-night podcasting. But when I die... And, in Italian families, the guy always goes first. So the wife always lives, 20 years later. Because we married, the Dutch girls, and they're, super healthy. That was totally... I just meant that a lot. She wants to live like Golden Girls. She wants to move in with her sister and, some of her friends. Yeah. And live in a big house and, someplace warm. And eat cheesecake at night in the kitchen and just talk to each other and, always wear robes and, flowing things. She wants to do that.
What a great show that was. What a great
It's so good,
dude, it's so, my favorite part of this, and I identified this in college. I used to watch it with my friend Abby. And we would sit there and I'm like, the best part of the show, the comedy's well written and the characters are awesome. And you should read some of the, by the way, some of the stuff the characters were transfixed. Rue McClellan or whatever her name was actually supposed to be the idiot. Betty White was actually supposed to be the sexy one.
Really?
And when they were reading and there's all these things, it's so funny, you read about it. But
I can't even imagine that.
Betty White is the sexy one. Yeah. Is the best.
Dude, Betty White used to be hot.
Betty White used to be hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even and Mary Tyler Moore or something like that.
And she was always super funny too. So she had that added dimension of genius. She's a genius.
But my favorite, the funniest thing, and people should pay attention to this if they watch Golden Girls. It's on Hallmark Channel every night. You should watch it.
It's on right now. I guarantee.
Yeah,
somewhere in the world it's on.
Dorothy's
on Hallmark.
deadpan is the best, and she does it all the time, and they know because they always zoom in on her. When someone makes a joke about her or someone says something funny, she's always looking all serious at them, like she fucking hates them. And that is the comedic genius of Golden Girls. So
people didn't like her, right?
What do you mean?
There's a lot of stories from
On the
set that
show?
they were just like
B. Arthur?
like directors would work with her and she would just constantly give them shit.
Well, she had a huge show, Maude, and she was like a huge star on that show. And I think Rue McClanahan was on that. That's her name, right? Like the redhead. I think she was on that show with her. And I think that like she had like a big sitcom that she carried for a long time. I think it was in the late 70s, early 80s. And then they went on to Golden Girls and all that kind of stuff. So she probably thought she was kind of like hot shit. But you know, that show is really special. Now, the answer to the question, Greg.
Yeah, who you hate? What character you hate?
What character I hate? And and I got to be honest with you, it's Urkel. Like,
Urkel.
Urkel
like-
was the worst part of Family Matters.
yeah, he was
worst
like,
part.
like I loved, you know.
I'm serious about that.
I didn't like his sister.
I like the mom and
Urkel's
dad
girlfriend.
and all. I like their whole kind of dynamic. But and Urkel was like really important to the show and like fundamental to the
Was he,
stories
though?
and stuff. He was, but he just kind of sucked. You know, like Urkel kind of sucked.
Urkel had the same problem that when he started and he was a side character in the show, he was fine and he was funny. But then once he hit and the show reversed to be all about him, he got really annoying. Did I do that? Every episode, like, oh, all right. It was almost as bad as Harriet with Carl. Carl.
Do you know this? Real quick.
That's Harriet saying Carl. Every episode she'd get mad at Carl and yell at him like that.
Do you know the story about Harriet?
Jeez.
All right, so obviously
Winslow.
we know.
Talking about Winslow, right?
Well, so obviously she was in a Perfect Stranger. She was the elevator operator. So the Family Matters is a spinoff. But do you know, like,
That's right.
So when Family Matters
totally
and
forgot
Step by
about
Step
that.
were on TGIF, ABC didn't want them anymore. They were going to cancel both these shows. Do you know this? this story?
No, I didn't know that.
So they sold them to CBS. This was in like 1997, 1998. Now the woman who played Harriet, I guess, is kind of an OG actress, and she wanted to start directing shows, episodes of shows, and they wouldn't let her, so she just quit. So if you watch so she wouldn't be on the show anymore. So if you watch the CBS season, the last season of Family Matters, it is just a different mother.
Really?
And they never acknowledge
that.
There's
I hate when they do that.
Never acknowledge. It's so funny. By the way, the other question is we were talking about Step by Step a while ago.
Yeah. Patrick Duffy's great.
And how that show went on for a really long time, and the daughters all got older and it got really hot.
Yeah.
I was watching on the way down to VidCon. It was on the TV or whatever, and they're just so those daughters are just so hot. Like in like the later seasons. They're just
Suzanne Summers was the mother in that. Right?
Yeah.
God, she was good looking back then.
But like
too.
when they are like when they're all in like their 20s.
Greg, she's 94 years old now.
She's not.
Game on.
Oh yeah, they used to, did you ever think about that? Like when you were a kid at the same age, you're like, which one of these girls is going to grow up? Like when you were a kid, not now, but like when you were like 13, 14, were you like, did you have the crush knowing that girl was going to grow up and you like had this hope that she would be amazing and you'd meet her one day in Hollywood and you guys would get married?
No,
I wouldn't go that far with it.
I was always more like, man, these people are doing way more with their lives at 13 than I am.
Really?
They're making way more money than I
did not
am.
think
Is it inappropriate to look at someone and be like, they're going to be really hot?
No, I don't think so.
Because that happened recently. I don't remember
With who?
I was talking about. I was talking to one of you guys.
What do you mean by inappropriate, I guess?
No,
I don't know.
who
I don't
that-
know. This probably should just end here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. it'll save me the bleeping later down the road.
Yeah.
The thing about the blonde on Step by Step.
Who was
blonde
Dana?
daughter.
Was it Dana on Step by Step?
Thank you.
I gotta look this up.
Your girlfriend reminds me a lot of her in terms of looks. From what I remember Dana looking like in my head. And Dana, of course, being the also the girl from My Two Dads.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the girl from My Two
Yeah,
Dads.
yeah. So
Very
you,
good.
I think that subconsciously is why you're in love with Cheryl.
It could be.
Step by step.
Dana.
Remember how long that? All right, so do you remember this random Step by Step aside? In the first season, they had like this shitty neighbor that they like just wrote out, and then in the later seasons they brought in Balky from Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
Like they just like, and then they had a daughter, like the Brady Bunch style. They were Brady Bunch style kids, and then they or family, and then they had like a daughter who then like was suddenly 7 years old.
Yeah.
And
Well,
shit
that's a normal thing for happening.
Yeah, they did the same thing in
Boy Meets World.
and Growing Pains too.
Yeah.
With our friend Ashley Johnson.
That's right.
awesome.
Also, though, now that we're talking about this, another person I hate, character I hate, Mrs. Poole.
Oh, Mrs. Poole from
Hogan's Family, and then she was also she played the same character in Hogan's Family and Small Wonder. Not the same character name,
right,
obviously.
but the neighbor.
Annoying neighbor.
Small Wonder.
Was she in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
She was. And she was the secretary.
She was
there.
awesome in
And
that movie.
She's an awesome actress. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting back to on
Yeah.
this. She seems like a nice person, but in these, when she's the annoying neighbor, she plays it so well
she
that
does that
she
character
grated
very
on
well.
me nonstop. And I
Yep.
was like, I want her to die.
It's like
She's
Professor
in Ferris
Umbridge
Bueller.
from Harry
yeah, that's what
Potter.
you said. She's the secretary.
okay.
She was the secretary. Remember,
Right,
she was
right,
like, she's like, he's a righteous dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was Edie McClure, I think her name is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
good.
her name.
Nailed it.
And Yeah, she. I don't know like any actresses or actors' name. I know her. I know you know
Mrs. Poole.
Yeah, Mrs. Poole. Well, dude, I feel like the Hogan Family is just such a special show. Like that really isn't on. When that was on, they put that on. They put that on Fox Family or whatever when I was in college, or the Family Channel, whatever the hell it was called at that point. And I was so stoked. It was only on for like a few months, like one episode at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I go home and watch it every day. And like DVR, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I remember watching
Fucking
all these
Hogan
shows in syndication at my grandmother's, or then after dinner on Fox and ran all this crap.
Man, I never watched the Hogan Family. I have no idea what the show is.
It's so funny because like
it was
90% of
Bateman
the
was
shows
on it.
you guys
This
talk
is
about to me are just Nick at Night shows.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, after all my Rugrats and cartoons and stuff, it's like then I get to watch.
Did you ever watch
Facts
these?
of Life and all this stuff?
Did you ever watch Facts of Life?
You take the
Fact of Life. Two other just OG shows, by the way, we really should throw out there for people, young people like Tim. Newhart. One of those shows
Never
you should
even
watch.
heard of that.
Newhart is awesome. Newhart's
It's because of him. It's because of
Bob Newhart is a
Newhart.
comedian. He used to have a show
He's
called The
so
Bob
good.
Newhart Show. Then he did a show called Newhart, and it was just totally different. He was like, he had like a different family.
he owned
Newhart.
an inn and
Yeah, he
stuff.
owned an inn in Vermont, and like it was just about the inn, and it was like so funny. And the last episode of Newhart is
spoilers, everybody.
Yeah, spoilers for Newhart because it happened 30 something years ago now. The last episode is he wakes up at the end of the episode and he's with his wife from the Bob Newhart show.
I love that.
And it was a
I love
dream.
things
And it
like
was
that
all-
so
and it was
much.
all- and Newhart was a dream.
Good.
The other show is Welcome Back, Kotter, which
Jeez.
is a genius show from the 70s.
Now we're getting way off track.
That was
and so
Travolta.
funny.
Wasn't it?
Travolta.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
we can
Mr.
get back
Guy.
on that because Horshack's kind of sucks.
you
Horshack was really-
hated Horshack?
No, I don't hate him. He just kind of sucked.
Oh,
No
okay.
one liked Horshack.
Well, who do you hate then? What character did you not like from one of these shows?
I'm trying to think.
You're a man
Come
filled with
back
hate.
to me.
All
Go
right.
to Tim first and let
Tim,
me think.
who do you hate from TV sitcoms?
So you mentioned Brady Bunch, and that instantly Jan. Fuck you, Jan.
Jan sucks.
I don't like you.
Yeah, but the problem with Jan is, and that's the thing, I was going to say Screech, but the problem with hating Screech is that Screech was the character that's written in to make all the other characters look cooler. And so, like, you can't hate on Screech, and you can't hate on Jan, because Jan
They
was
just
the
did their job,
antithesis
though.
to Marsha.
They make you want to hate this character, so you do hate.
So you like the other characters better. I mean,
Yeah,
actually, Jan back in the day wasn't that bad.
Yes, she was.
In the movie, she was
Well, the
terrible.
movie,
They
she was even
made her
worse.
out really bad.
I love those movies.
What,
so much.
when they get married?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just watching those not too long ago. And
They were like spoof movies.
Which is great.
Oh, you mean the movies from the 90s?
I'm talking
Yeah.
about movies from the 90s.
Oh, like they did the Brady Bunch, like the real movies in the 80s.
Oh,
with
I didn't know that.
Where
That's
like
crazy.
they get like there's
I
one
love
movie
a
where
very Brady Christmas.
like when they get married, like Jan and Marsha get married. You never saw this? Jan
No,
and Marsha.
I never
They
saw
get
this.
the original cast back there. They're all adults. This isn't like the early 80s. And Jan and Marsha have a dual wedding. And Marsha's marrying like some straight edge dude, and Marsha's marrying some like crazy dude, and Jan's marrying like some straight edge dude. And I was watching it with Charlotte. I'm like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you change it? I'm like, no, I love this stuff. So like, it's so weird. It's so awkward. Like Mrs. Brady in the beginning calls all the kids to let them know they're getting married. Peter's in like the Air Force now.
Yeah.
And like Bobby's at school and college in the dorm room. He's like a baseball pitcher. I'm like, this
Wait,
fucking.
this wasn't from the 80s? Wasn't this like
This was like
late
1980.
90s?
No, this is like 1981.
I'm pretty sure this was after
Yeah,
the
I
movies
think it was
happened.
way
No.
later.
This is no. This is
They
this
did
is,
another one that was way later.
Oh no,
Like
they
an
did.
actual-
They
I remember
did.
seeing
They
that.
did. They did multiple movies, but Brady Bunch was 65 to 72.
I'm looking it up.
So this is like 1980, 81, and
Okay.
they reunited every few years, and
Yeah.
they would get fewer and fewer of the original cast.
Very Brady Christmas is the last one though.
And
right?
that was
Alice just died recently.
we know.
yeah, which is
what was it
terrible.
about the Brady Bunch that we liked?
The theme
That we
song.
still like?
Davy
the-
Jones.
It's the
Davy fucking Jones.
it's the quintessential American family. I feel like it's a
Is
fusion.
it comforting to watch?
It is. It's the same reason why Leave It to Beaver is so good still, because it's wholesome, and we don't have that kind of stuff anymore. Like it really is just
Because we never
really
had it
just
to begin with,
innocent.
though. It was never reality. That's
it
why
was
it's
fake.
like, why when we watch that, do we need as human beings like that level of perfection? I
don't
just
think-
don't get it.
a
It's
family
not
that sings
reality.
together and goes through puberty
And they
together.
and they roller skate together and do
Yeah.
everything together. And like the dad,
Different
there's a
colors.
problem, and it's not infidelity, or like maybe he's gay. It's none of that stuff. It's like, oh, trouble at work. Oh, it's okay.
He
You know,
lost
it's
the
like,
plans.
Oh, he did. He always lost the plans. Oh, Peter forgot the plans. Come on.
But just real quick, you guys were mentioning the Brady Bunch movies, like the ones from the 90s. Those movies are awesome.
They are so good. I
Like
watched one
they like make
over
me
Christmas
laugh
break.
from my belly. Like,
How did they
especially
pitch those films as like, let's just make the Brady, like someone was like, Brady Bunch, modern times. That's it.
I mean, they just took the classic storylines and then just made them from 30-minute episodes into just every 3 minutes was a different Brady Bunch storyline.
And was it the guy
It's so
from
good.
Office Space?
Yeah, he was the dad, right? Isn't that the? Oh no,
yes, he was the dad in the
Cole,
remakes.
Cole, right? Something
like,
Cole.
Peter. Let's talk, Peter.
Dude,
Lumberg.
Lumberg.
Hell,
Wait, I didn't
Lumberg
know
fucked
movies.
her.
What was the name of the oldest son?
Peter.
No,
No,
Peter was the middle son.
Greg.
Greg. Yeah, where Greg and Marcia have to share a room.
Oh, yeah,
where she's
yeah,
like
yeah.
getting undressed.
That was great. That
I
was
love
really
that.
fun.
I love how the neighbors make fun of the one scene I remember so much is like when the youngest daughter goes to the neighbors to get the mail, and like they hate the Bradys, like they're trying to get them to sell, and like the wife's like an alcoholic, whatever, and they're just making fun of the way she talks, and like they can't understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
And like, she's like there to get the mail or something. Like, it's so and Mr. Brady going on and on with his tangents, like it's. I think I'm pretty sure they're all on Netflix.
Oh, they're so good.
And they're really good.
They're
like,
genius. Because it really is. They don't even try to make it like a joke or a satire at all. It's just take the Bradys as they were in 1965 or 68, whatever.
Throw them in the 90s.
Put them into 1995.
But no one else is like that.
No one else is like that.
Oh, it's so
and just
good.
let them exist. And it's so genius.
This is a carjacking. I'm not Jack. I'm Greg, and this is my sister Marcia.
Mr. Brady's getting in trouble at work because he keeps designing things that are just the house they live in.
Yeah.
There's in a supermarket.
God, that was so good.
It's brilliant. I love how we're going on and on about.
Yeah, I know, right? This is the topic's gone in a
Yeah, so
strange
I'd say Jan because you're supposed to hate her. Another character that you're supposed to hate is the nanny, Fran Drescher.
You weren't supposed to hate the nanny.
I
A lot
don't
of people
know.
did.
She was vaguely
handle it,
hot,
man.
man.
Wasn't
Wait.
No,
But
she
Fran
is
Drescher was
vaguely
hot.
hot, but
The voice she did was not.
it's
hot.
just like, oh my god.
Who was the girl? Kimmy.
Kimmy
On,
Gibbler?
yeah.
On Full House.
Hated her on Full House. Hated
Yeah,
her.
she sucked. I love how brutal they were to her too. Like they would
Didn't
just
she become an
make fun-
alcoholic or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that they would
on the
just make
show.
fun
No,
of-
wasn't there an episode where she
Oh.
was like, she was the kid that like messed around with drugs and alcohol, and they were like, not Kimmy Gibbler, right? And then like they had
was
to
for
have
years
the
of
more
abuse.
you know episode.
It was from years of abuse from fucking
Did they make
Joey and
fun
Uncle,
Uncle
Jesse
Jesse just laying into her.
shitting on her since she was like 6 years old.
Because she walks in, it's just two 34-year-old men making fun of you for all of your life.
She took it in stride though. She took it in stride.
She
At least-
was up.
She probably
She
went
was
home
up.
and cried a little bit, but
Well, she was
Who
super
didn't?
skinny, so my guess was, and the shoe.
anorexia or coke?
I was going to Coke.
Yeah, Coke.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. I don't know how she afforded it, but these rich kids and these
What do
rich
you mean? How she
families.
afforded? She was on Full House. Oh, you mean in the storyline?
I was joking about her character, not her actual.
They also lived in like a
person.
beautiful part of San Francisco.
No, nobody.
They had, like, a
mansion could
mansion.
afford.
The $40 billion mansion that you would have needed to like shell out that much money to live in San Francisco.
The kitchen is the size of my apartment.
I like how nobody ever thought about it too. You watch that show and like it doesn't even dawn on you.
Yeah.
And now that we live here, like, oh, we got fucking duped.
And that house is on Broderick Street.
The
You can
Painted
go see the
Ladies,
house.
yeah.
Well, no, the Painted Ladies are in the beginning, but their house, like the facade of the house when they're like zooming in.
Oh, really?
The show is on Broderick.
Where is it? We should go look at it.
Yeah, like,
right now.
It's like, yeah, I went. That was one of the first
Bring
things
the
I did. It's like
whiskey, the bourbon.
1687 or something. I don't know. But like they planted trees in front of it. You can't really even tell. But
Mm-hmm.
people go down there. There's like a whole website that like tracked down what house it was, whatever. But even if you think about the house, it's like a normal San Francisco house, and then you think about the layout of their
And the
house,
backyard.
it's impossible.
And the Uncle Jesse's house above the garage. No one has houses above the. No one has garages in San Francisco. We don't drive here. Yeah, Kimmy's probably. She was a close second for me, I would say.
My biggest hatred, though, I'm gonna go Alpha 5 from Power Rangers. He was Zordon's little assistant. Dude.
Oh no! UFO head?
Yeah, nah, dude.
You're supposed to hate him though.
How could you hate him?
He was a little punk.
Gordon was just a giant floating head.
Gordon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gordon.
What was his name?
Zordon.
Gordon. Hi, I'm Gordon. Welcome to my pizza shop. Have some Gordon's pizza.
Another head just pops
It's
up
just
in the
spelled
thing.
It's just spelled Gordon.
Wasn't
You're
there a
I'm
storyline
Gordon.
eventually where he got out? He had a body. Didn't he get a body in
In
one
the
of
movies, he had a body. The movie, he had a body.
How'd that work out?
It didn't work out well. The movie's not really canon.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's no good.
What about the show Alf? Did
What
we
about
hate
Alf?
the dad on that? Do we?
No, the dad was awesome on Alf. He was essential. He was essential to the whole.
Alf.
Dude, he was so essential to that show.
Yeah, Alf was awesome.
I like.
But the dad was essential to their interplay, like the whole show's interplay. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, he was like
wasn't it you? I think in a conversation or something. Maybe we talked too much about just TV. It told me like how Alpha ended. I didn't believe you, and I had to YouTube.
How did it end?
He gets captured by the authorities at gunpoint. He's just like they like come up on him with like spotlights, and he's like, and then it was like I think it might have said to be continued, and that shit was never continued.
That would be an awesome idea
Alpha's
for a
fucking
show.
dead.
Just spoiling the end of all the 80s shows. So because I've started doing this, right? So I told you guys I was watching Star Trek Voyager. Mm-hmm. Well, I got tired of watching Star Trek Voyager, as one does, because the show is so overacted and so completely cheeseball. But it's still pretty good. I want to see how it ends. And so I got of course, the brilliant idea. I'll just watch the season finale and the season premiere of every season. And you kind of get the gist no matter what. Like some people partner up, someone's pregnant, you're like, oh, they're banging. It's not a big deal. But then I watched the end of it. I was like, this is super gratifying because I didn't have to spend 7 seasons. There's 162 episodes of that show. Do you have any idea how long
48 minutes each or whatever?
Oh my God, it's so long. I can't do the math, but it's unprecedented. But now I want to know how Star Trek The Next Generation ends because I can't remember.
How did Facts of Life end? Remember, they went from being in a school
we
together
should start
to then
this series.
Mrs.
We should
Garrett.
do a special podcast.
They
on
killed
how it
Mrs.
ended.
Garrett and hid her body.
Well, remember, Mrs. Garrett then had like a bake shop or a sweet shop, right?
Yeah.
That George Clooney worked at.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how did Facts of Life end though?
That is actually a genius idea.
We should do that.
Just doing
Bleep
quick
all this out.
Video. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, it's like we don't know how to bleep. You could bleep and then make a cut, but we like to just bleep the full thing. So
Yeah.
like 20 minutes of just a beep. Yeah, I think Tim. Let's get on that. Let's come up with a name. Let's call it The True Facts of Life. How it should have ended, but how it really ended.
How it really.
How it really ended. Fuck you, how it
Facts
should
of
have
Life.
ended.
Yeah, but also how it really ended.
All right.
All right. Good topic, Greg.
Good. Thanks. I tried for you.
It was nice to lighten it up. We talked about
Yeah, we had some serious shit today.
hardcore drug abuse, and now we're good.